Hey, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Cyberpunk 2077, and today I want to talk about the gangs of Night City and a little bit more on the city itself, because there was a recent Night City Wire episode number 3, and this one the focus was all about the city and the gangs, and since we'll be having quite a lot of interaction with them throughout the game, they're kind of a pretty important part. So in this video I want to give you a top level as to what we have on the gang so far, some of the things we know, some of the stuff we got from the recent Night City Wire episode, and just set the scene a little bit more. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Let me know in the comments down below which of these gangs is your favorite. My one, I mean, no surprise, if you guys know me, you follow me on social media, you know I'm into my gym stuff, I love the animals, but let me know your favorites down below. Anyway, before we talk about the gangs, let's just set the scene quickly and talk a little bit more about Night City. They give us a few kind of additional details, some of this stuff we already know, but top level, Night City is of course built on the coast of California. There are huge industrial areas and they still support the realism of a coastal city. There are 6 districts based on the Cyberpunk lore. There are different characteristics, architecture, demographics, types of people who live in each of these districts. This much we know already. Each district, however, is broken up into several more areas, and each district should kind of feel like its own unique zone. So you'll kind of definitely notice the difference when you pass between them. When you explore them, they will all kind of have their own unique feel and sort of tone to them. The city is supposed to be one of the most complex things that the level designers have ever actually had to work on, which I can completely understand because when you see some of it, it looks incredibly intricate. They say that when they were kind of developing it, the sort of city grew in phases, buildings on top of other buildings, and there's plenty of verticality in different exploration styles compared to something like The Witcher, which is kind of much more akin to, you know, see things on the horizon, travel over there. And whilst roaming the city, you can get calls from fixers for jobs, you can go down alleyways and they'll contain gangs, elevators leading to other, areas or shortcuts or secrets. You'll have plenty of little encounters throughout the city, separate quests, side quests, and every single street is named. So if any of you guys are great with directions, that is not me by the way, I am terrible, that's why I use a sat-nav, then you might be able to start learning the roads. There is also an interesting site from the live stream with more information on the lore of the city, so if you guys want to sit down with a cup of tea and have a good read, then definitely check that out. I will link it down below, and yes, I promise I will remember to put the link there this time because I know I'm terrible at doing that. Anyway, that aside, let's talk about the gangs because they are of course an integral part of the game. Gangs of course have the newest cyberware and weapons, and they typically rule the city. Of course, different gangs in different segments. And while you play as a merc, factions can of course give you jobs including gangs, but they will not trust you to join them. As you play throughout the game, you can get gang-themed weapons, gang-themed vehicles and clothing, which again, if there is one you particularly like, is something cool to be able to invest in. So what do we have? Well, first up we have the Maelstrom gang. These ones we've heard quite a bit about. They're supposed to be around 1,300 members. They have an extreme threat level. They are typically located in the Watson District, Northside Industrial District, and the Kabuki area. The leader is called Wraiths, whom of course you will have seen through kind of the most common gameplay presentation they've shown. The one that we, you have the option to kill him, steal his gun, spoilers, but I mean, it's kind of been shown. Anyway, leader is Royce, and they're a combat gang formed from what was left of the Metal Warriors. They were almost wiped out by the Inquisitors, an anti-cyberware gang, and it has acquired members to bolster the numbers from the Red Chrome Legion and the Iron Sights, who also have grudges against the Inquisitors. While the Inquisitors are a special target for their violence, Maelstrom will of course attack anyone else as well, so they're kind of someone you just don't really want to run into. They look quite monstrous, they're heavily cybernetically augmented, they've got that sort of punk aesthetic, and they tend to dress in leather and chrome, and they prefer much more visible, high-profile cyberware in general to appear much more primitive and dangerous. They want to cross the boundary between machine and human, go more machine, and they basically kill for amusement, so they are not very nice people to run into, let's put it that way. You then have the Valentinos, or the Tinos for short by some people. They have supposedly around 6,000 members. They have a medium to high threat level. They can typically be found in Night City, Haywood, The Glen, Wellsprings, and Vista del Rey. This is much more kind of a poser gang. A poser is sort of anyone that tries to basically emulate anyone famous in the city. In 2077, they are one of Night City's largest gangs. The Valentinos are bound by a strong moral code and century-old traditions. They control swathes of predominantly Latino areas in Haywood, and they treat values such as honor, justice, and brotherhood with deadly seriousness. There's care taken into their appearance, they wear crosses and chains, and religion is of course an important thing to them. They follow God, and they have a punishment for every occasion in very traditional gangster style. You then have the 6th Street Gang. There's about 2,300 members here so far. They have a medium threat level. They are located in Night City, Santo Domingo, and Haywood. They've been founded by the veterans of the 4th Corporate War who were tired of the helplessness of the NCPD. 6th Street was then meant to serve and protect the community of Vista del Rey. Today, however, their interpretation of the law and bringing justice to the city is questionable and self-serving. They look very patriotic, wearing stars and stripes in some form, militia-style aesthetic with holsters and bulletproof vests, etc. And they have, of course, plenty of Second Amendment references. Moving on from there, you then have the Voodoo Boys. The number of members in the Voodoo Gang is currently unknown, estimated to be around 50 to 250, so not too many, to be honest. We have, of course, met one of them in one of the sort of gameplay segments, but the Voodoo Boys have a low threat level, however they are extreme on the net. And they're located in the Pacifica district, their own island, cut off from the rest of the city. They typically wear bones and teeth or symbols on necklaces, often with sunglasses. The Voodoo Boys are an enigmatic gang from Pacifica, and they're not just netrunners, who are savvy computer hackers. They're instead devoted to uncovering the secrets of the old net and behind the Black Wall. The Black Wall is a virtual wall that's said to basically keep free AIs from breaking through into the rest of the virtual world and wreaking havoc, possibly causing the end of the world along with it. They're also edge runners, breaking every rule there is, and programming viruses that can basically freeze neural networks. So they are some of the best runners in town. Then we have my favourite gang, the Animals. There are about 2,500 to 3,000 members in this gang. Make that 3,001 because I want to join. They have a high threat level. I mean, to be clear, I don't want to join a gang. I'm not that kind of person, but these guys seem kind of cool. They're located all over Night City, but they do have an increased concentration in South Pacifica. The Animals are an aggressive street fighting booster gang from the West Pacifica that emphasize physical power above all else. They frequently sell off their services as bouncers, a job of which they are heavily sought after and are spread throughout the area. They're big, muscular, and cybernetically augmented, carrying huge guns or huge fists. They've also been seen invading the Voodoo Boys' turf as hired muscle because somebody paid them. They're basically the craziest gang in the city, but they're also gym bros. I mean, you can go and visit them and they've got a full-blown gym, so what's not to like? After that, we then have the Tiger Claws, who currently have around 5,500 members. They have a medium to high threat level. They are located in the Westbrook District, Watson District, Japantown, Charter Hill, Kabuki, and Little China. Originally, the Tiger Claws generally didn't use most cyberware, preferring instead to rely on martial arts and traditional Japanese weaponry and enhanced reflexes. However, it was rumoured that they are backed financially by Arasaka. Now in 2077, they regularly use cyberware and are very fixated on motorcycles for transportation. They've also gone from small, humble beginnings to one of the largest gangs in the city, rumoured to be in a territory feud with the Steel Dragons, a gang originating from Tokyo. Japanese theme with samurai blades and oni masks, melee focused swords, and black market tech. So these are kind of my second favourites just because they have the oni mask. I mean, I definitely want that. I remember when I got to go hands-on with Cyberpunk and I got to buy the gold oni mask. Whew, I want that. I basically just want to be an animal with a katana and an oni mask. Is that too much to ask? Anyway, outside of that, you've also got the Moxes, who are only around 200 to 250 members. They have a low threat level, they have no turf, but they tend to stay in Kabuki around Lizzie's bar. They formed in 2076 after the death of Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, a strip club owner and an ex-prostitute who treated her workers fairly and defended them from violent clients. The Moxes refer to themselves as those who protect working girls and guys from violence and abuse. The Moxes are relatively small, non-territorial, and consist mostly of sex workers, anarchists, punks, and sexual minorities. All girls, outcasts, and freaks, using baseball bats and a bit of punk aesthetic. They are rivals to the Tiger Claws, and they typically live in club-style areas. We then have the Wraiths. Members are currently unknown, likely sitting at around 300 to 1,200. They have a high threat level. One of the two nomad groups inhabiting the Badlands, the Wraiths ignore the law. They are the largest group of the Wrath and Shiv, which is a subculture of rogue nomads, and this group travels mostly at night and preys on the sleeping and the unwary. Their leader is named Dogkiller and is rumoured to be wearing clothing of human skin, which is kind of creepy. They also have a long history of frequent conflict and warring with the other nomad group, the Alocalos. They can be seen wearing masks, helmets, and goggles. You then have the other ones, the Alocalos, who currently have around 500 to 600 members in Night City, but around 10,000 plus in total, so they are pretty big. They currently have an unknown threat level, which is estimated to be around medium. They are the other nomad group that inhabits the Badlands. The Caldo family was the first true nomad family to form during the 1990s as Los Angeles turned into a war zone. They have a long history of frequent conflict and warring with the other nomad group, and of course, unlike their aggressive rivals, the Alocalos are much more open to making deals with V, of course the player character, and they have that family structure. And since I do want to be starting as a nomad, I feel like I'm going to be having plenty of interactions with this gang. But for the time being, that is a rundown on the gangs so far. That's a little kind of insight into them. So again, let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Which gangs sound the coolest to you? Which ones would you, I know you can't necessarily join them per se, but which ones do you align with more so? And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what else you guys want to see. And of course, anytime there is more Cyberpunk information, I'll keep you guys posted. But for the time being, that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the HyperX Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there if you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with. It's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.